What is up, everybody? Welcome to another fresh take. If you can tell by the title, we're going to be taking a look at Rurouni Kenshin, the final. It's part one of two. Uh, this film series actually I started in 2014. I did a review a few years ago on the Legend Ends and the Kyoto Inferno taking place that talks about the actual Shishio arc of the manga and the anime. And I did that. I was trying to find that video, but I can't find it anymore. I did it with a good friend of mine, Zen Gamer. I think he changed his name, but we reviewed that movie a while ago, and I thought now would be a good time to take a look at the final one. To start this off, this is probably the best adaptation of an anime slash manga to live action that I've seen to date. They have to take some liberties, some stuff, because you're basically trying to crunch down a humongous arc into like 2 hours. In this movie, if I'm not mistaken, I think it runs at like an hour and 52 minutes, which isn't bad. And the movie actually takes place over something that we never got to see in the anime for fans of the anime. It's the Inishi arc, where we get to meet with Kenshin's wife, the reason why he has the scar on his cheek, the cross-shaped scar on his cheek. We get to see his brother-in-law, and basically what happens when you get really, really, really angry at somebody and you really don't talk about your problems. That's basically how that goes down. But that's a long arc in the manga. It never got animated, and I was hoping that maybe, because now if you are an anime fan, you know that a lot of stories they're going back and actually animating either the final arc like they did with Inuyasha and what they're supposed to be doing with Bleach, or they're going back and redoing the whole thing like they did with Full Metal Alchemist. I was hoping we'd probably get the last one, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. But they actually were able to do that in this film. And what I want to do, I'm going to try not to spoil it because I really want people to watch it. It is available on Netflix. The first three films, you can buy them in over here in the States. I think Funimation has it, and I went to Funimation's site just to see if they have them for people to stream, and they're not on there to stream, but you can buy the DVD. Go figure. But let's talk about this. So, the things that I liked about this film, the best thing about this film, honestly, is the action sequences. They do a very good job of fight choreography in all of the films, really, but especially in this one. I think that every film in the series has gotten better in terms of the actual action and the fight choreography. The story itself is actually pretty good. They did the best they could to get the main points of the manga arc and put it into the film. And if you don't know anything about the arc, it kind of you'll probably be a little lost with a couple things if you haven't seen the previous films, because they do make some callbacks to especially the Shishio stuff in this movie. So if you haven't watched those movies, it might throw you off as to why this thing is happening with this character and why is this character showing up and helping. It'll probably throw you off a little bit just because it kind of flows together like that. The story, like I said, fine. The actors, I think they did a good job. I also think that they did a good job of making the actors look as close as they could to their manga counterpart. Some of it, because manga is basically, it can be a little bit exaggerated, especially for this. So some of the characters, yeah, they don't look exactly like they could, but I think they got them as close as they could. And most of the characters that look ridiculous are really henchmen, so you really don't need to know about a lot of their stuff. Even though in the manga they did try to flesh them out a little bit, I think they did a good job of like getting it as close as they could. And you just don't have a lot of time to spend on some of these characters. There is a fight scene that's actually in the manga arc that's not in this, and I'm kind of glad it isn't, because I didn't know how in the world they were going to be able to get around what Hajime Saito does to that character. they don't do it in here. So I think people know what I'm talking about who read the manga. If you're watching this and you read the manga, you know what I'm talking about. It's a certain character, certain henchman that Hajime Saito fights, and he does something to that character, and I'm like, there's no way in the world they're ever going to animate this or do this in the live action movie because it's just that it's that disturbing. But that's not in here. As a matter of fact, he doesn't even fight that character. They let another character fight that character, which I thought was okay. The main climax of the film and of all of these films actually is basically one big blowout scene where they put everything on display, and they do another one here, and I think they did a good job with that here as well. One of the things that I didn't like, once again, like the character of Yahiko, if you guys know the manga or anime, his steady progression gets better and better. And in this arc, especially, he's one of the main players in this arc. Yahiko really doesn't do anything in this. And in the movie series period, he hasn't done much of anything. He's pretty much been an afterthought, and it's kind of it's one of the things that I don't like. The other thing is there are certain points in the film where it kind of drags a little bit. And certain things, especially, now, if you've seen the film series, it might not click with you, or you might be okay or forgiving with you. But if you read the manga, there's certain things in the manga I think they could have done a little bit better. I think this movie needs to be at least about 15 minutes longer. Now, granted, I do know that they are doing the part 2 of this finale for Rurouni Kenshin is where they go over the trust and betrayal part of the manga arc. They have the beginning of that sequence in this movie, but it's only about 5 minutes, and it needs to be longer. Now what I would have done probably would have made this movie, once it got to that part, to the trust and betrayal part, where he sits back and tells the story of his marriage and who Inishi is, I would have actually made that the rest of the movie, and then part 2 would be the end of the arc, and that's how I probably would have did that. But they don't do that here. They basically do. He does his little story time, and then they go and do the rest of the arc as much as they could. Now, the other thing that I think needs to be praised is the actors in here, because the actor that plays Inishi and the actor that plays Kenshin, they killed it, in my opinion. They did a very good job. It was very believable what they did. The actor that plays Inishi, he's the standout to me of the film, because he killed that role. It's a lot of anger, a lot of rage, and when they let him show out, he shows out, and I really, really enjoyed that. Other than that, I think the movie it's a good hour and 52 minutes of action, and have a little bit of comedy in it, but sword play is off the chain. It's amazing. They are probably one of the I don't know who does the sword choreography for this, but they are hands down the best. They are, because each fight does feel brutal. It does. The fights are more. Some of the fights are real brutal. Some of the fights are more choreographed, where you can tell it's like movie choreographed, and some of the fights, like, you like, okay, dude, are they really choreographing this, or is this just somebody in a barroom brawl? And I think they did all of those well. Now, there are some points where it's like really more what's the word I'm looking for here, exaggerated with some of the characters. Like I said, they're taking this from an anime manga, so there's certain parts of the manga where the characters are really out there, outlandish, and they do a good job of bringing that in, like I said before. But I didn't mind one of them in particular. He'll remind you of Barrett from Final Fantasy VII. Just go with me there. You'll know him when you see him. I was going to try to put the trailer in here, but I couldn't find a trailer that I liked, so we're going to have to skip that. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. I think people will like it if they are a fan of the other films, if they've seen them. If you haven't seen them, I don't know if jumping into this would be smart, just because you really need to see at least the Shishio stuff, the Legend of Kyoto and the Kyoto Burning. The Legend Ends and Kyoto Burning movies. I was hoping that maybe Netflix would put those up, but they have not. As of this review, they haven't put those movies up. So I don't know if, jumping into this, you'll probably have a lot of questions if you haven't seen those other ones. But overall, I think people should watch it, especially if you are a anime head or a fan of sword fighting action films, because they do a very good job with this. And the dub is not bad. The dub of it isn't bad. You do have the option to turn the Japanese on if you want to do Japanese audio with English subtitles. The dub isn't bad either. I watched it both. I watched it with the dub and with Japanese subtitles, and I liked it as well. So leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. I enjoyed it. If I were to give this a rating, I'd probably give it like a matinee. Matinee, if you've seen the other films in the franchise. Rental, if you haven't seen any of the other ones and this is your first one. I don't think you should start with this one being your first one, but I can understand it if there's no way for you to see the other ones. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and I think a lot of other people will too. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys on my next fresh take. Also, don't forget, tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Winging It Gaming Podcast will be live. Chat will be on. So we'll be live on YouTube and on Twitch. So please come by. Chat will be open, like I said, and we'll see you at 7 o'clock. Peace.